Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Our next weather maker will bring us some rain for this afternoon. I'll show you the timeline and how much we could see.
Isaiah Ross on trial. The man accused of killing two teenagers back in 2022 is in court. The next steps and the timeline for opening statements.
Pushing for answers, state lawmakers are meeting today to talk about improving mental health treatment in North Carolina. The questions they could face nearly 2 weeks after the murder of Zoe Walsh in Raleigh. So glad you're with us this morning. We always appreciate your time. I'm Kat Smith, in for Chris Lovengood.
And I'm Renee Chu. We're getting through the week here, hit the midpoint on this Wednesday, and it could be a wet Wednesday for some people. Maybe a little rain, Elizabeth. I know you're tracking those rain chances that we desperately need.
Yes, we need the rain. We have a lot of things going on. So some rain this afternoon and then turning really cold and windy for tomorrow in the teens for Friday morning. So it's super busy in the Weather Center right now. Let's start off with what you need to know this morning. It is a dry commute to start with. Right around lunchtime, we start to see the rain developing, and it's out of here by the evening commute. If you're going to be running some errands middle of the afternoon, you might need your umbrella, but the rain will be light. This is a live look at Goldsboro this morning, looking pretty with their lights in downtown. 41 degrees, so definitely warmer than it was yesterday. We have a southwesterly wind that brought us temperatures to almost 60 yesterday, but it won't be quite as warm today with the clouds and the chance for rain. Heading out the door, temperatures are in the mid-30s in the north, upper 30s down south, and in the triangle, temperatures are in the low 40s right now. We will climb into the mid-50s, but of course, we're looking at some showers later on this afternoon. We'll talk more about the cold air that comes our way and how that will affect us coming up in just a little while. It's going to be something, Chris.
It's going to be a shock to the system for sure. And hey, thankfully this morning, you don't have to budget a ton of extra time on the morning commute. It's a dry one, not expecting much frost and no major slowdowns right now. This is the hour when things start to get congested. That's your yellow there that you see between now and 9 a.m. The 7 and 8 o'clock hours, that's when we start to see more of your slowdowns. We'll keep you covered each of those hours on the radio at 101.5 HD3 anywhere in the triangle.
Chris, thank you. We are staying on top of breaking news this morning. Right now, firefighters are investigating what sparked a fire at a home in Holly Springs. This is a live look from the WRAL breaking news tracker. You can see emergency responders on Market Cross Court. We're told the fire started on the back porch. Two adults were taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. We've reached out to Holly Springs Fire for more information.
In Orange County, the murder trial of Isaiah Ross moves forward. Ross is accused of murdering two teens back in 2022. WRAL's Allie Cadlebar live outside the Orange County Courthouse this morning. And Allie, the 12-person jury for this trial is now seated.
And Ken, we're going to see that those 12 people selected walk into the courtroom later today. We're also going to see 3 potential jurors as they are set to be questioned by attorneys. That's set to continue as well. Once they are selected, we may hear opening statements in this trial of Isaiah Ross. Now, Ross was charged in the September 2022 deaths of 14-year-old Lyric Woods and 18-year-old Devin Clark in Orange County. This video shows Ross entering the courtroom Monday when he opted to reject a plea deal. The judge also determined crime scene photos of the victims will not be shown on large screens in the courtroom. Ross's defense told the court he is pleading self-defense. The trial moved forward with the jury selection process yesterday. The prosecution excused 4 prospective jurors and the defense excused 6. Both sides asked jurors about whether they owned any firearms in their histories with guns. And today, WRAL will be in the courtroom following with any updates. You can follow along as well on WRAL.com and through our later newscasts. Reporting live in Hillsborough, Allie Cadlebar, WRAL News.
Police are investigating a reported stabbing in Durham. The WRAL breaking news tracker was on that scene around 3:30 this morning at the Hoover Road Apartments. We've reached out to Durham police to find out what led up to the stabbing and the status of that investigation.
3 people are out of their home after fire in Franklin County. Franklin County Emergency Services says firefighters responded to the mobile home last night on Bryan's Way, north of Lewisburg. Officials say the flames spread from the back porch into the woods. NC Forestry also helped put out the flames. No one was hurt.
An apparent drive-by shooting in Fuquay Arena sent a man to the hospital. This happened last night on McLean Street. Police believe the victim was in a passenger seat of a car when another car pulled up. Someone in that car started shooting and then drove off. So far, no arrest in this case. The victim is expected to be okay.
State lawmakers are bringing up questions about the criminal history of the man accused of killing Raleigh teacher Zoe Welsh. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live at the state legislature this morning. And Kelsey, today lawmakers want answers about how Ryan Camacho's mental health issues have been handled.
Yes, Renee, this is the first time this group of lawmakers that are focused on mental health will be meeting since Raleigh teacher Zoe Welsh's death. Legislators here in the legislative building here have been asking a lot of questions about why the man accused of killing her is still on the streets. Ryan Camacho is accused of breaking into Welsh's home and killing her. Welsh was a teacher at Ravenscroft School in Raleigh and a mom of two. Camacho has a documented history of mental illness. When he faced breaking and entering charges in a separate incident last year, prosecutors asked to have Camacho committed to a mental hospital. A judge denied that request. Now, lawmakers are looking into how this was handled. Today, a legislative committee is looking for ways to improve the state's procedures for treating people with mental health issues. And you can read more about that committee right now on WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Lawmakers are also expected to talk about how rising property taxes in this growing state are hurting homeowners. Cost of living issues have been top of mind for North Carolina and the rest of the country as cost of goods remains elevated. Today, a bipartisan House committee will hear from organizations on how cities and counties set property tax rates and spend their money. No immediate changes are expected. The committee does plan to meet monthly through the spring. For more on the committee, go to the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com.
A Wayne County business is closed today after a fire broke out. These are photos of the scene posted by the Grantham Volunteer Fire Department. This happened at the Grantham Supply Store on US 13 just outside Goldsboro next to the hardware store. The fire department says there were no injuries reported and the cause of the fire is under investigation. Now on Facebook, the Grantham Ace Hardware says the store will remain open today while the supply store will be closed.
Happening today in Raleigh, people will gather in Moore Square to honor the woman shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minnesota last week. This is just days after people across the Triangle protested following the death of Renee Good. The grassroots group Siembra NC is organizing tonight's vigil, which is scheduled for 7 p.m. It plans to honor Good and other people affected by ICE operations across the country.
Now, Renee, the U.S. Department of Justice says it will not be starting a civil rights probe after the death of Renee Good. The department says it does not see a basis for an investigation. The FBI is still looking into the deadly shooting to determine whether or not the ICE agent acted in self-defense. Also, tensions remain high in Minnesota after Renee Good's death. This is video from St. Paul where anti-ICE protesters clashed with officers outside the federal building. Video shows officers deploying flashbangs and what appears to be tear gas. It's not clear exactly how many arrests have been made during these latest protests. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says she plans to send more agents to Minnesota this week to continue immigration operations and quell protests.
Two advocacy groups for public schools are expected to be outside the North Carolina General Assembly. Public Schools First NC and the North Carolina PTA will both be there to ask state lawmakers to increase funding. State lawmakers are at a standstill over a budget this year. Some want more education funding increases than others. Advocates are also pushing for accountability requirements for private schools that receive public dollars for opportunity scholarship vouchers. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst says it appears that lawmakers are not on board with that.
Lawmakers have declined to add those accountability requirements to the voucher program called the Opportunity Scholarship Program. They've said basically accountability is built into it because people who receive these vouchers, these opportunity scholarships, can move with their feet, basically hold them accountable by saying, we'll go to a different school next year if we don't like it.
The groups plan to demonstrate each month through April. 6:09 now. State investigation. Officials have confirmed they are looking into the spending of the former Cary town manager. where this investigation stands after the state auditor indicated some of Sean Stiegel's actions may have been criminal.
And measles outbreak. South Carolina is reporting more than 400 cases. How this is raising concerns in classrooms all across that state.
And it's dry right now, but the rain rolls in a bit later on today. We'll walk through the timeline and I'll show you how much we could see total.
And here are your winning Mega Millions numbers: 16, 40, 56, 64, and 66. The gold Mega Ball is 4.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Every Wednesday, we lit the tower in our backyard, or light the tower, I should say, in pink for breast cancer awareness. Now, of course, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is October, but we here at WRAL feel like it's important to remind you all through the year. So watch for that pink tower every Wednesday going forward. Rain chances for today start around lunchtime, but end before the evening commute. 40% chance, but it's likely to be fairly light and patchy. Maybe another round very, very early tomorrow morning, but right now we're not expecting any frozen precipitation for the next 24 hours. You can see here's our potential for rain starting right around lunchtime and ending right about 4 o'clock. We'll talk about how much we'll see coming up in just a little bit. Looking outside this morning, not quite as cold as yesterday. 41 in Wilson and Durham. It's 37 in Fayetteville. And walking the dog this evening, temperatures will be in the low 50s, but temperatures will drop dramatically as we get through the day tomorrow. I'll show you that coming up. Chris?
And Elizabeth, that little bit of a rainmaker you're tracking is producing some heavy stuff off toward Alabama and South Georgia. Nothing that's causing any major flight delays across the eastern U.S., so at least some good news from the sky. Heading toward I-40 at Airport Boulevard, this is a busy time of morning, especially for this stretch of road, but nothing that's going to make you late if you're heading to the airport on this Wednesday morning. Wherever you're headed, we've got you covered on 101.5 HD3.
And happening now here in the WRAL Live Center this morning, we are following those protests happening in Iran behind me. You can see as large crowds are in this area right now protesting what's going on in that area. The head of Iran's judiciary signaled today there would be fast trials and executions ahead for those detained in nationwide protests, despite a warning from U.S. President Donald Trump. Of course, those comments from Iran's judiciary comes as activists have warned hangings of those detained could come soon. Already, we know a bloody security force crackdown on the demonstrations has killed more than 2,500 people. President Trump saying just yesterday that the U.S. would take strong action in response, also encouraging protesters to keep demonstrating and saying that help is on the way.
The SBI confirming it is investigating the spending habit of Cary's former town manager. Sean Stiegel resigned last month. A state audit suggests possible criminal activity linked to his credit card transactions. The SBI, in partnership with the DA's office, will review dozens of Stiegel's purchases over the years and decide if his spending goes beyond mismanagement.
Our standard is in any case is going to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And often what we see is people, purchasing trips, purchasing, things for their own homes, spending money for their personal benefit that really doesn't have any legitimate business purpose.
The SBI investigation will take place over the next few weeks.
The DOJ is pushing for lawyers to work faster as they process pages from the Jeffrey Epstein files. That's according to recent court filing and to emails from DOJ officials. A recent email from the head of the criminal division asks the team to review about 1,000 pages a day. As of last week, officials say around 209,000 pages have been reviewed so far. The DOJ is working on redactions after a recent law mandated that the Epstein files be made public.
State officials in South Carolina say 6 fully vaccinated people have contracted measles. The news comes as the western part of the state deals with an outbreak. Concerns are rising in South Carolina classrooms as cases increase. Our affiliate spoke with a man who says his wife is an elementary school teacher. He says she got the virus despite being fully vaccinated, which is rare.
One of the children in her class was diagnosed with the measles. They was notified of that. After she was notified, she went and had a test done that come back in a few days later that told her she had no immunity.
The state health department in South Carolina says cases have doubled over the past week. More than 430 cases have been reported so far. Officials say the spike is due to holiday activities and lagging vaccination rates.
New data shows that enrollment in Affordable Care Act coverage is down. The federal government is reporting enrollment is down around 800,000 through January 3rd. This is compared to the same period last year. This decline comes as the expiration of certain Affordable Care Act subsidies pushed the premiums to increase. On average, premiums have doubled since those subsidies expired. People can still enroll for health care coverage through tomorrow. The final numbers on any possible decline won't be available until the middle of the year.
Well, today we are expected to get more look at how inflation is affecting companies, which could affect how many prices you pay. The producer price index set to be released around 8:30 this morning. This tracks the prices of which producers and manufacturers receive for their goods from retailers and distributors. You could pay more if prices for them get too high and they decide to make you pay. This report comes after the release of the consumer price index, which showed overall inflation year to year grew by 2.7%.
It is 6:18. We definitely need rain, and some of us could see some, but really it won't be much to make a difference in our drought.
I mean, we need 4 to 6 inches of rain in a month, and it just has been, we've been hard pressed to see that anytime since September. It's just been dry for months and months. So we'll take anything we can get, but we definitely need more. You can see the rain down here across the deep south. That will start to push into our area by around lunchtime or so. Eventually the front comes through. That'll happen right around midnight. There may be another quick shot of some rain with that. And then cold air comes in. Those do not happen at the same time. So we're not looking at anything frozen for at least the next 24 hours or so. Here's Futurecast. We're dry, clear this morning for the morning commute. But by the time we get to mid-morning, the clouds roll in. And by lunchtime, we start to see some patchy light rain, especially from the Triangle area eastward. This, again, is going to be very light for us. We'll see some cloud cover overnight. And then when the front comes through just after midnight, again, mainly our eastern counties see a quick shot of some showers. Then the cold air comes in behind it. And boy, it is going to be a fairly cold and windy day for us on Thursday, feeling pretty miserable. We take a look at the precipitation chances for us. It looks very light. And we also have a chance on Sunday, and the precipitation looks light then as well. 40% chance for us this afternoon, that quick shot right around midnight. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at a 20 to 30% chance. Now, the mountains with this system tonight could see as much as 1 to 3 inches. Snowshoe, West Virginia, 4 inches, and then 6 or 7 inches across parts of New York. Will we see some on Sunday? We're going to have a cold air mass that moves in, but then we'll need a coastal low to help to form any wintry precipitation. And here's what it looks like on one of the models. There are a lot of solutions out there, and we may end up on Saturday seeing just a quick shot of some showers. Then the cold air comes in behind it. If the low develops offshore and moves far enough inland, it's possible that we could see some wintry precipitation. We still have, a long way to go. We need to see how many more runs of the models are consistent with that, but it's something that we'll be watching for Sunday. Definitely looking at cold temperatures. It's going to be really cold for us tomorrow in particular. The wind chill is going to feel more like around 32 all day long, so just be prepared for that. Do not let that catch you by surprise. I know you won't.
No, I'll be ready for it, especially Friday morning. Hey, this morning, it's a dry start to the commute, I-40 at Rock Quarry Road, and everything flowing pretty smoothly in both directions. We're getting to that point in the morning where things will start to get a little more congested. But in terms of delay times, 1 minute from Wake Forest and Nightdale, nothing that's going to make you terribly late. But once we start to see the delay times increase, you'll be the first to know if you tune us in on the radio at 101.5 HD3. Listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, kicking that cold, many people ask themselves whether they should go to a doctor during the peak of cold and flu season. 5 on your side shows you things you may already have in your cabinet to help you feel better.
Brother saves brother. The lesson that a 14-year-old boy in our area learned at school that helped in a scary situation. A story you will hear only on WRAL. What a sweet picture. A 14-year-old from Wilson County saved his brother's life thanks to a lesson he learned in middle school. Now both brothers hope to inspire others to pick up some life-saving knowledge of their own. Cody and Hunter Aliff were out duck hunting almost 2 weeks ago when Hunter collapsed face first into the water. Cody rushed over and kept his brother alive thanks to CPR training he had just received. Reed months earlier at Springfield Middle School.
I wasn't really expecting having to use it, but it was really helpful.
At first, I was still shocked, didn't really know what happened, but I did thank him and told him I loved him many times.
Hunter says he is still recovering, but is already back in class at NC State. The Aliff brothers are now encouraging everyone out there to get their CPR certification.
This What's Trending report is sponsored by Call Dad AC and Heating.
A new adventure for Lego and a love story on ice.
Yeah, let's take a look at what's trending. Lego entering the world of Pokemon. The toy company unveiling its first ever line of Pokemon sets. The first collection will have favorites like Pikachu, Eevee, Venusaur, and Charizard.
It is set to be released on February 27th. Pre-sale is available online now. Lego very smart to build on these popular franchises. Also trending, the author of the books behind the hit TV show Heated Rivalry has announced a new installment to the series. The TV show on HBO Max is about the years-long love story between two hockey players, Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov. And now author Rachel Reed is releasing a new book about Shane and Ilya called Unrivaled. That book is set to be released in September.
Well, the show is really taking the world by storm. The two lead actors this past weekend were at the Golden Globes Award. And by the way, Connor Story will be on the Today Show coming up at the top of the hour.
Fire and ice. 6:26 now. Isaiah Ross on trial. The man accused of killing two teenagers back in 2022 is in court. The next steps in the timeline for opening statements.
High property taxes, rising costs for homes are making it more difficult for Triangle homeowners to keep up. The steps lawmakers are taking to give you some relief.
And we're dry this morning, but a couple of things happening. First, we're going to see some showers that roll through this afternoon. And then tomorrow, we're going to see an Arctic blast that takes over. I'll walk you through all of it coming up.
And here's a look at the winning North Carolina Education Lottery numbers. We'll be right back.